metal faith alive.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 3 of Lyrical Language. The track we're going to take a look at today is Perennial Quest. This has been requested by a few different people. So I'd like to say thank you to Andre Laranes Pino, Bruno F. Vascontim, Michael Eriksson, Decrepit Duck, and Zephyra. Now, the first thing we need to understand with this track is the actual title, Perennial Quest. What does that even mean? Well, the word perennial means everlasting or enduring, indefinite. And of course, quest means journey, everlasting journey. But if you summarize the whole song in a simple way, it's Chuck's talking about life, the journey of life, and some of the meanings and experiences in that. Now, of course, one of the big questions of the world is the meaning of life. My opinion is that the meaning of life is to give life meaning. So when we are born, there is no purpose, there is no meaning. The experiences that you go through dictate the things that have meaning to you. So perhaps you have a wonderful life or a rather tragic one. And those events can dictate the meaning of life to you. If you come from a terrible background or childhood and you find a way to break away from everything that you know, this is incredibly special, I think. But anyway, let's jump into the lyrics. The journey begins with curiosity and evolves into soul-felt questions. On the stones that we walk and choose to make our path, sometimes never knowing, other times knowing too much. Filtering out the bad that holds us back. Take hold of what is true to your hunger, a hunger that will not go away. Plans for tomorrow, they will remain. Won't you join me on the perennial quest? Reaching into the dark, retrieving light. Search for answers on the perennial quest, where dreams are followed and time is a test. No time for mental crutches, the maker has moved on. I will take it raw and be on my way. Those that stood beside me, I'm glad you understand. Behind these written words, I share the simple plan, to hang on to the way that we feel. From rivers of sorrow to oceans deep with hope, I have travelled them. Now there is no turning back, the limit, the sky. I ask my questions why, what today, when tomorrow. And then after that we have a verse chorus repetition. So let's go to the beginning of this track. The journey begins with curiosity. Of course, when you are young, you have this enthusiasm for life and evolves into soul-felt questions. You're trying to understand the world more. On the stones that we walk and choose to make our path. If you have freedom, then you choose your own direction, hopefully. Sometimes never knowing, other times knowing too much. I'm not sure how to interpret that line. Sometimes never knowing, other times knowing too much. I'm not sure what is meant by that. So you're choosing your path. Sometimes you have too much knowledge or too much information, and sometimes you have none. Is there an extra meaning there perhaps? Filtering out the bad that holds us back. Take hold of what is true to your hunger, a hunger that will not go away. Plans for tomorrow, they will remain. Filtering out the bad that holds us back. Of course, removing negativity from your life is incredibly important. Anything that takes you down. Take hold of what is true to your hunger. So follow your dreams, follow your passion. Of course, this is all just my interpretation. A hunger that will not go away. So still talking about that passion, that desire that burns inside. It's going to stay, it's going to remain. A little bit off topic. In my opinion, if you do not pursue some of these passions, if you suppress them, then this has an incredibly negative effect on your life, your well-being, your health, your sanity. Plans for tomorrow, they will remain. My understanding of that line is seize the day, because of course this particular verse is about passion. So perhaps he's talking about things like a certain job, a certain relationship, education, who knows. Reaching into the dark, retrieving light. So my interpretation is the dark is the unknown and the light is potentially the positive experience. Search for answers on the Perennial Quest, where dreams are followed and time is a test. I don't think that's too complicated. Of course, time is limited. Our time on this earth is finite. Unlike the word perennial, which is indefinite. Of course, at this point, Chuck didn't know about what was ahead of him. Perennial Quest is track 9 off Symbolic, you know, the 1995 album. So it's the last track. It's about 8 minutes long, and after 6.5 minutes, the mood of the song changes from very aggressive to very expressive and melodic, emotional. If you know the song, you know the outro to that song is very impactful for many people. So it's a very emotional finish to an incredible album. No time for mental crutches. To me, this suggests weakness or additional support. You are on your own. The maker has moved on. So the maker could be your parents, perhaps, or maybe you're religious. Who knows? I will take it raw and be on my way. So my interpretation is I will accept the reality. I will deal with it and go alone. Those that stood beside me, I'm glad you understand. Behind these written words, I share the simple plan to hang on to the way that we feel. This particular verse doesn't really, resonate with me when I read it. Those that stood beside me, I'm glad you understand. Behind these written words, I share the simple plan to hang on to the way that we feel. Please leave a comment down below. What's your interpretation of these different verses? From rivers of sorrow to oceans deep with hope, I have travelled them. Now there is no turning back, the limit the sky. I ask my questions why, what today, when tomorrow. From rivers of sorrow to oceans deep with hope. So of course, he's talking about his experiences. Life is not just about the good or the bad, it's every emotion, every experience. Of course, there is that very basic philosophy that without happiness, you don't understand sadness, and vice versa. Some people say the meaning of life is happiness. But I think that if happiness is the only emotion that you know, then happiness becomes normal, normal becomes boring, and boring becomes meaningless. So life is about every emotion, every experience, not just one feeling. So yeah, a very open song to interpretation because it's touching on the topic of life, the life that you lead. And of course, for every person on the planet, it's a different story. Maybe there are certain similarities, but you can never claim to know the feelings of another person. So there you go, people. Episode 3, Perennial Quest, was requested. Another popular one at the minute is Empty Words. Like I say, please leave a comment down below. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you dislike it, thumbs down. If you want more death content, subscribe. And I will catch you next time.
Keep the metal faith alive.